Masquera say Mure Zimbabwe, welcome to our channel Zim Confessions and Deep Secrets. Kana kariki kutanga kukuya paneno channel. Please don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe, but don't forget to comment and share this video. Nas Mure Zimbabwe tapigira ine Buditswa na the former deputy director of the Central Intelligence Organization, Love Mo Mukandi Uyabuda, achitaura about his book akabuditsa achiexpose President Emerson Mnangagwa, Vice President Constantino Chiwenga pamwechete naye Perrence Shiri since the coup yakaita mugore 2017 as it was premeditated kubva kudhara, and they wanted to avoid prosecution nekuda kwemaroles avakaplaya muri Gukuraundi massacre. Mukundi akabuda achitaura achiti zvakare the coup yakazoinitiate pamushure mekunge President Robert Mugabe vakanema kuti wanted Sydney Sekeramai kuti aite a successor, and so ana Chiwenga vaisa truster Sydney Sekeramai yakabuditswa nemaizimbabwe.com vachitaura vachiti a bombshell has exploded onto Zimbabwe's political landscape with the publication of a new book, How Mnangagwa blindsided Robert Mugabe and grabbed Zimbabwe, by former Central Intelligence Organization Deputy Director Love Mo Mukandi. In the book and subsequent online interviews promoting it, Mukandi levels explosive allegations against President Emerson Mnangagwa, his deputy Constantino Chiwenga, and the late Air Marshal Perrence Shiri, implicating them in a premeditated coup in 2017, driven by a desire to avoid prosecution, so their alleged roles in the Gukuraundi massacres. Mukandi's account paints a grim picture of the events leading up to the November 2017 coup. He contends that the plot was hatched not in the heat of the moment, but rather meticulously planned over decades, stemming from the atrocities committed during the Gukuraundi era. This was long planned in the 1980s because Mnangagwa wanted to rule but realized he would not win elections, Mukandi asserts. The Gukuraundi, a dark chapter in Zimbabwean history, saw the North Korean trained 5th Brigade under Shiri's command perpetrate the killing of an estimated 20,000 mainly Ndebele-speaking civilians in Matabeleland, Bulawayo, and Manicaland provinces. Chiwenga Mukandi alleges also held a commanding role in the region during this period. You would find that Shiri Chiwenga and some top officials in the CIO, including Shiri and Muzariri, were all involved in those atrocities, and all reported to Mnangagwa, who was coordinating them. Mukandi reviews while highlighting the alleged complicity of Mnangagwa, Shiri Chiwenga, Edson Shiri and Menard Muzariri. The fear of future prosecution for these heinous crimes, Mukandi argues was the primary motivator behind the coup. There was this fear among them arising from the fact that there was an outcry about the genocide that had been committed in Matabeleland, and it was known to this group of people, Mnangagwa, Shiri Chiwenga, Shiri Muzariri, among others, that one day they might have to account for the atrocities. Their fear was that they might face prosecution in future for these atrocities, he explained. Shiri, who earned the chilling name Black Jesus during the Gukuraundi era, a title reflecting his perceived absolute power over life and death, died in July 2020. Mukandi's narrative further alleges that the timing of the coup was strategically chosen to preempt a potential succession plan favored by the then President Robert Mugabe. This preference, he claims, was known to Mnangagwa, fueling his ambition to seize power unconstitutionally. These people who had been involved in atrocities in Matabeleland knew this was what was about to happen and feared that if power was handed over to someone they did not trust to protect them once in office, then they would be in serious trouble, as they might have faced prosecutions. The November 2017 coup was meant to preempt the handover of power to somebody that Mnangagwa and company did not trust to protect them once they got into power, someone who might have prosecuted them. This is what motivated the coup, he concludes. Mukandi's own history adds a layer of complexity to his claims. He fled to Canada at the turn of the millennium following his dismissal from the CIO, facing allegations of defrauding the agency. He was deported back to Zimbabwe in 2011, although the subsequent trial never commenced. The publication of Mukandi's book promises to reignite intense debate and scrutiny of Zimbabwe's political history, particularly the events surrounding the 2017 coup and lingering legacy of the Gukuraundi massacres. Donya yakabuditswa mai Zimbabwe muri Zimbabwe tikade kwestangwa intro tumungonzwa vamukandi vachitaura pamusoro penyaya iyi mwamadzero munofunga mu comment section.
Only about the motivation for and timing of the 2017 coup, I will say the following. The motivation I've already explained. This was long planned way back from the 1980s, because it was long planned from the 1980s by Emmerson Mnangagwa, because he wanted to be in charge. He wanted to rule Zimbabwe, but he had realized he could not win elections. So he wanted to get in to the office of president through unconstitutional means. Now, regarding the timing, we have to go back to the atrocities committed in Matabeleland in the 1980s. The 5th Brigade was being commanded by Perrence Shiri. General Chiwenga was commanding a brigade in Midlands or Matabeleland province where these atrocities took place. So you find that Perrence Shiri, General Chiwenga, then some top officials in the CIO, including Edison Shiri, who was the Deputy Director General, and Menad Mzariri, who was a director in the CIO, were all involved in those atrocities, and they all reported to Emmerson Mnangagwa, who was coordinating, according to press reports, because I don't have personal knowledge of the events in Matabeleland in the 1980s. But press reports, I think credible press reports indicate that all these people were reporting to Emmerson Mnangagwa. Now, there was this fear among them arising from the fact that there were outcries. There was an outcry about these atrocities. Human rights groups expressed serious concerns about this genocide that had been committed in Matabeleland. And it was known to this group of people, Emmerson Mnangagwa, Perrence Shiri, General Chiwenga, Edison Shiri, Menad Mzariri, among others. It was known to them that one day they might have to account for these atrocities. So their fear was that they might have to, they might face prosecution in future for these atrocities. Now, in 2017, I believe that President Mugabe, because of old age and because of being unwell, felt that the time had come for him to relinquish power and hand over to a chosen successor. I know for a fact, from my interactions with President Mugabe when I was Deputy Director General, that President Mugabe preferred Dr. Sidney Sekeramai to be his chosen successor. This was known to Mnangagwa, and this is why he felt emboldened to push to get into power unconstitutionally, because he knew he wasn't a chosen successor. So in 2017, I believe President Mugabe was about to hand over power to a chosen successor. These people who had been involved in atrocities in Matabeleland were worried. They knew this is what was about to happen. They knew this is what was about to happen. They feared that if power was handed over to somebody they did not trust to protect them once in office, then they would be in serious trouble, because they would have to be accountable. They would have to face prosecution for those atrocities committed in Matabeleland. So I believe this is the reason, the reason for the timing of that November 2017 coup, to preempt the handover of power to somebody that Mnangagwa and company did not trust to protect them once they got into power. So I believe this is what motivated the 2017 coup, so that President Mugabe would not hand over power to somebody who might end up prosecuting Mnangagwa and company for the atrocities they had committed in Matabeleland.